Cage Minds, Micah Frankel at the JacksonWink Academy, joined by Lydia Warren, a professional now, 1-0. Last time we got to talk to her, I think it was just ahead of the final amateur fight. So it's been a couple years now. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What does it mean to now be a professional fighter, first off?
Well, I guess it means I'm making money now, but for the most part, I mean, it's the mindset. Well, I was going to say the mindset's the same, but I've changed a lot actually about my mindset. And I don't think it has a lot to do with me being a professional now, but just me like growing up and getting older and learning more. So yeah, a lot's changed actually.
It's 5 years by my count that you've been here at this gym. Earlier today, I was actually just looking back at the last interview we did when we were talking about your journey just getting here to the gym. Is it mind-blowing to you to look back upon the last 5 years, how far you've come?
Yeah, honestly, dude, like I look back on old pictures, videos and stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know that girl anymore. But like, I'm just blessed to be here, and to have seen that growth in such a short amount of time, honestly. And I've just learned a lot, you know what I mean? Just being here and just being, and things happening to me, I'm just overall just blessed,
Earlier this year, we saw the pro debut. It happens in Icon. First off, what did it mean to you to be looking for that pro fight, to know that the transition to being a professional, the amateur days were over? What did that mean?
Honestly, that part of it wasn't that much different because, I had been looking for my pro debut for, I think it had been like 2 years at that point in time. I was supposed to have it, I want to say in 2019 maybe, and then ended up with COVID the week of, and then, throughout that next year, like a lot of things had happened that just, it didn't come about, but it came about at the perfect time, exactly when it needed to happen, when it did. So everything like just coming together was nice. You know what I mean? It wasn't a surprise. It was just everything going in sync with how it was supposed to go, I guess. Yeah.
And how do you look back upon that fight, upon your first performance as a professional?
There was good things, and then there was, I don't want to say bad things, but just things that I, even since that fight, have changed. Going into that fight, I was super calm, which was really great. I was just very present in that fight. Like every single moment, like the fights before in my amateur career and stuff, I remember being really nervous. And then like when the fight was going on, I remember the fight ending and then being like, what happened almost. But that one, it wasn't like that at all. Like I was just very like in the moment. It just felt like another day. I was just so happy and like just blessed to be there. Like I could just feel everything, just taking everything in. And I guess I almost just took everything in too much, because I feel like I did have a little bit too much fun in that fight and definitely like could have finished it, but like I just almost didn't want it to be over, you know what I mean? So since then I've changed a few different things about that, like being more aggressive and like my training and my mindset and stuff, even more so since then. But that fight was just surreal, to be honest, for me.
Overall, it's 4-1 as an MMA fighter if we count the pro and the amateur career. So it's almost a fight for every year you've been out here. Does it feel like you could be a young veteran? 5 years feels like you've gained, or you should have, quite a lot of experience under your belt at that point.
I feel like the opposite. Like honestly, I feel like I haven't gained that much experience like in the actual cage, but as far as training and everything goes, I feel like I have made huge strides, and I think it just shows in my performances. Like my fights are very far apart usually up until now, but each time like you can just see like insane like just strides basically, and my performance level is just so different each time. So yeah, I guess I have gained a lot more experience and a lot of things in a short amount of time. But I think it has a lot more to do with what I do in here and my mindset and the things I do at home with my mentality and everything like that than it does to do with the actual fight itself.
Now, what are you able to do outside of the gym, at home, you just bring up, to bring that mentality to life?
Honestly, I do a lot of like just like meditating and prayer and like reading, and just I spend a lot of time alone, and I think that's really important for people, especially like young people. I mean, for people of all ages, but especially for young people. I think it's very important to spend a lot of time alone and get to learn yourself, what makes you tick, what you like, what you don't like. Just really get comfortable with yourself, because at the end of the day, in fighting or anything else, like all you really have is yourself in whole. Like you have other people and stuff around and the people that love you and care for you, but at the end of the day, all you really have and can control is yourself, especially in fighting. Like nobody else goes into that cage with me. It's just me. Yes, I have my corner, I have my coaches, and I trust them, but at the end of the day, I have to be able to trust myself to like the highest ability. And I think that really only comes with learning and growing in your own individual self. And I think that a lot of fighters almost not mess up, but they're doing themselves a disservice by being around people too much, and people in general, just being around other people too much, I think is almost a disservice to yourself, because it just takes you a little bit longer to understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very important kind of to have those mental health days, to have that time to yourself, and to allow yourself to process and feel things, right?
Right, exactly. I think, especially with this sport, it's a mainly mental game, and I think a lot of people don't realize that to the extent that it is, but it is very mental. If you don't trust yourself and you don't know yourself and know what you bring to yourself, or believe in yourself, you're never going to reach those goals. I always tell people, you can only be as good as your highest goal. So let's say somebody's like, oh, I just want to make it to the UFC. That's cool. That's a great goal to have. But at the end of the day, you can get into the UFC, but then you almost don't know where to go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, set the highest goal you can for yourself, and then just take it day by day to get there, because you're only ever going to reach there, so you might as well just set it as high as possible.
Last time we talked, you kind of had the same mentality. You said every day is a day-by-day goal, but you didn't really mention a bigger goal, but it kind of sounds like here 2 years later, you do kind of have some bigger goals and aspirations in mind.
Well, and you know what it is, and I think that in the time that I spent with myself and really learning myself, I have more self-belief too. It was almost like back then I feel like I said things that I heard other people say, or like I almost wanted to convince myself of things. But now, like, my confidence is real, and I think that truly just comes from spending those deep times with myself and knowing what's important to me, knowing the things I want in life, and knowing the things that I can have anything I want in the world. Anybody can be and do anything they want in the world, as long as they take the time and they truly put in the discipline for that. Because I think that, the most important thing anybody could ever have is discipline. Because at the end of the day, that is doing something that you in times that you almost don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So I think that's a really important character trait that people can learn and grow in, is just self-discipline in anything. Everything I do, it's 100%. So training, I always say I want to be, whatever I do, I'm going to be the best at. So even if I go waitress, bartend, whatever, I'm going to do that to my best of my abilities, because that's all I have. That's all I am. That's what I am. And that says everything about my character. You know what I mean? That's discipline. Doing the things that are important to you when you don't feel like doing it.
And coming to this gym, I'm sure, more times than not when you don't want to do it, because I know you love doing it, but it's physically demanding, it's mentally stressful. So I'm sure, and we don't see you fight all the time, MMA is an exhausting kind of tribute to everything you just said.
You know what's weird is that's the least I think of things like that. I love coming here, training and stuff. I couldn't tell you the last day that I was ugh, I have to go train. I love coming here, but it's the minuscule things for me that I've had to learn and tell myself these are important things. And this is why, a lot of people fail at certain things. This is why marriages fail. This is why everything fails. It's just because it's so easy to do this and go off on this, but if you have the discipline and understanding of no, because this is more important to me. So you say no to the things that are like whatever. You say no to the things that just aren't going to get you to the next goal, to whatever you want in life that's important to you. And yeah, it's more of the minuscule day-to-day things for me. This part's easy.
And it also sounds like there's a lot of focused in on the bigger picture for you, that you focused in on your bigger goals, doing the little things, like you said, attributes to getting to that bigger goal. But it seems like there's a lot more focus, and you see the direction where you want to go, I guess. You see it clearly, not just having the focus, but you understand the destination.
Exactly. And, I'm blessed to have the understanding of where I'm going and to see the bigger vision. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody else will see it eventually. But I already know where I'm going. You know what I mean? And it's funny, like, because just now everybody's like kind of catching on, and they're like, oh, Lydia can be great. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, I've been known this. But I know and I understand that, like, it was almost like I was hidden in plain sight, is what I always say. Like, I was always right here, but like, people are just now catching on, and I'm like, yeah, I already knew this. But it's just little things that I've changed, little habits that I've changed to do day to day, and that's pretty much it.
Not trying to suck up or anything, but I think we could see, if you were there live for the first victory inside of the cage, I think we could see, I remember the scream afterwards and the embrace with the coaches, and you're like, oh, no, she cares. People may have doubted before that moment, but we could see the release of emotions and the amount that it really did matter to you.
You know what? That was more like, I didn't believe in myself before that, and I think that was actually a huge turning point for me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can win, I can do, because that was my first victory, and I had lost my first one, and I almost to that point was just like, there's no way I can do this. Like, I want to do this, but there's no way I can do that. And at that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can actually have victory. I can actually win this stuff. And then from then, it's just been growth. And now, there's no way I lose, even in anything. Like, to me, in my mindset, the way I'm built, I can't lose, like, period. I've just grown so much that I fully believe in myself,
Now, another part of this journey that we kind of touched on when I saw you in person at Bare Knuckle, you're not yet there, you're 1-0, but you're starting to gather this social media fan base. People are recognizing you at the event. How wild is it to, like, be on a path where one day ESPN, you'll be a superstar, something like that, UFC, but you're like, I still got to go to work at 4 o'clock here. So you're still a regular person, but all in the same.
Yeah, I'm still on that bartender salary. You know what I mean? It's cool, like, people recognizing you, but at the end of the day, I'm not getting paid like it. But no, I'm just kidding. But it's interesting. But to me, it's not about that. To me, it's like, I'm blessed with the outlet and the what's it called? The pedestal, I guess. Not really pedestal, but where the position that I'm in, I'm blessed with that position for something bigger than that, And I think that that's important for everyone to understand. Is it's not about the fame, it's not about the money, it's not about any of that. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna die, and none of that's gonna come with me. But that in itself is a blessing for me to get out a bigger message to people, and I look forward to that more than anything, So it's really more, I'm telling you, it's bigger than anything that anybody thinks it is to me. And only I know that right now, but eventually everybody will.
Is it a little weird getting recognized at this point, that people, that you're starting to see the fanfare, or have you already had so much of it, you're kind of a little used to it?
Honestly, I'm kind of getting used to it. At first, I was like, like at work, like people will come to my work to sit with me, like, because they want to meet me and stuff, and they'll be like, "Can I have your autograph?" And I started laughing at them, like, at first, but now I'm like kind of getting a little bit more used to it, and I really love it. Like, it's great, but not for myself. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't stress enough that, like, to me, it has nothing to do with who I am, and everything to do with the fact that I'm like, I can't wait for these people to really get to know who I am, what I'm about, what my mind's like, and everything like that. So for me, it's cool. So yeah.
You bring up work. And you've kind of became a little more famous on the internet recently also from work because some douchebags. Do you want to tell the whole story and tell us about how the reaction has been?
So it was funny, actually. I turned around. I was at the food window about to run my food. I turned around and he was like filming me, and he knew I caught him. And I had been harassing him like for 20 minutes, like before I even took that video. But like he refused to look at me. He was like sitting there shaking in his boots, I guess. And I finally turned on the flash and started recording that video, and I didn't think it was going to be anything. But then I accidentally started leading a women's rights movement, I guess, which is kind of funny. But I mean, as far as that's concerned, at first, like I even thought about deleting that video. I was like, that was crazy. That was super unhinged of me. But like now I'm kind of glad I didn't because, you know, if nothing else, like it did encourage a lot of girls to really stand up for themselves, because I know that a lot of females are afraid. We're almost taught from a young age to be almost afraid of men, which is not right, because, you know, stick up for yourself. If somebody makes you uncomfortable, say something, do something about it. You know what I mean? And that's just, if I can teach anybody that's a win for me, you know?
And a moment ago, I kind of cut you off before you got to it, but you mentioned a bigger message that you want to get out. So what are you looking towards? What are you wanting to say to people?
I guess everybody will just find out eventually, huh? Nah, but it's just, you know, things I stand for, and it's not just one message. It's not just, but it's who I am as a person, my values. You know, I want to be different because I just feel like, you know, I'm a very religious woman, and I just feel like there's a lot of people in the world that like think, oh, you have to be this way or this way for people to like you. And no, just be exactly who you are. Stand for the things that you know are right. Stand for what you believe in. Be a good person. You know, love other people, care for other people, give freely. You know, just there's a bunch of things that I really stand for that I can't wait for people to really find out. But it's more or less just going to be as it comes, you know?
Okay, and then also you said getting to know you. So I guess let's start with that. We asked Lydia, favorite color?
Green.
Are we talking about like any color green, or is there specific?
I like most greens, to be honest. It just depends on my mood. But I like lime green, I like sage green, I like army green, I like dark green. I like all the greens, to be honest. I've always been drawn to that color.
Gotta agree with you. Green, favorite color, best color, people. Favorite walkout song?
I change it every time, actually. So I don't really have one. My last one was really fun. I walked out to Pop Smoke, and I had my black Air Forces on, and everyone seemed to really love that. So yeah, I change it every time. Just whatever I'm vibing with in camp, to be honest, is what I go out to.
And then you talked about a lot of that alone time. Are you a movie watcher or a book reader?
More of a reader. I don't really have a lot of time for movies. I train full time and I work over 40 hours a week. So to be honest, when I get home, like I just want to go to sleep so I can get up the next day and do it all over again. But yeah, I do enjoy reading. I always try to read a little at the end of the day. So
what are you on currently?
to be honest, I read my Bible at night, but that's. But I read a few different biographies. I like biographies on like old boxers and stuff. But yeah, when it comes to like daily reads, it's just pretty much the Bible.
Favorites. Favorite type of music?
The only music I don't really actually like is rock and roll. For some reason, I just never really vibed with it. But it just depends on my mood. Like if I'm working out, I want like hip hop music. But you know, sometimes I'll just be chilling at home and I want something like light. You know, like. But it just depends on my mood, to be honest.
Favorite food you get to have while in camp?
While in camp, I can't really have any of them. I cut a lot of weight. But to be honest, I just really like ground beef. When I'm in camp, like my favorite meal when I'm cutting weight is my last one, which is like ground beef and rice. And that sounds so goofy, but it's literally like my favorite. I'm like, yes, this is the best time of day. So yeah.
And then what's that victory meal? Favorite thing you get to have afterwards?
I always eat a cheeseburger right after.
The cheeseburger, the classic?
Yeah.
Awesome. What are some favorites that we're missing that's like should be at the top? Your favorite things?
I don't know. I feel like you asked all my favorites. My favorite, I don't know. My favorite fighters? I don't know.
Yeah, okay, let's go with that. Who are your favorite fighters, male and female?
Male and female? My favorite fighter of all time is Muhammad Ali. But my favorite current like UFC fighter is probably Israel Adesanya. I really like his mindset. I like his fighting style, but I really like his mindset as well. If you ever listen to interviews of him, he's very smart, and I really like that in fighters. I think that's what it's easy to fight and be a brawler or whatever. It's not easy to understand the mentality of it, and he does very well, which is why he's a champion, you know. So, and then female, probably I like Rose a lot.
And then is that with Rose again a mentality thing?
Yes, I like her fighting style, but yeah, she's just kind of she's just a little bit deeper than I feel like a lot of the other females are, and I really like that how she carries herself.
And most of the internet's going to want to know, honest expression, when you saw Brandon trying to pop Aaron's arm back in place.
That was hard. It was hard to watch, just in general, just because, you know, being around, you know, that's my team. You know, like, I train at JacksonWink, but, like, as far as, like, my really close, like, partners and stuff is, like, you know, Gibson's my, like, number one coach, and so given Aaron's his other, like, we're all very close, so it was just hard to watch, more or less, not because of the arm, but more or less just because I saw the hard work behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Like, we were in the garage, like, I saw him working, I saw him doing this, you know, and to watch all that build up and that hard work, and then like something like that, like something so crazy to happen when you know he's at this level, and then like just something happening like that, it just sucks to watch, to be honest, you know.
And I can't let you go without us asking about you. What's next, and what's your expectations for when we're going to see you in the cage again?
Honestly, I'd like to get one in by the end of the year. We will see, but maybe it might be early next year. I just kind of take what comes to me, you know what I mean? I'm never in a rush, you know, divine timing. Where I'm going is inevitable anyways. So, yeah, whenever it happens, hopefully either the end of this year or early next year. But I'm always training, I'm always in shape, so whenever it comes, I'm ready for it, you know?
It took a while for us to make this happen, but thank you for doing it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.